This is John Paul Rai. I'm coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. I want to continue my coverage of Marilyn Manson, and what I'm doing now more is I'm getting into detail about the accusers because I don't see any tangible evidence from them as far as medical report, police report, video, or audio, so my default position has to be innocent until proven guilty, but now I want to get more details for myself on who these people are. And this one, of course, is about Esmé Bianco, or maybe it's Esme, not exactly sure. Let's just call her Bianco. And it's about how she said that Marilyn Manson forced her to watch a grotesque movie and she passed out. However, she has a history of doing some very grotesque things herself, including blood and leeches or something like that. So it makes her story very hard to believe when you think about it logically. This is from an Instagram account called Marilyn Manson Defenders, by the way. So it begins. Esmé Bianco fainted watching a violent movie but was the drowned girl in Blood at Fetish event. I do a submerged alive act in a custom-built glass water tank and have used it to drown girls in blood. I've done a lot of bloody, theatrical shows based on Victorian women's asylums with leeches, piercing, cutting, bloodletting, and bloodbaths. They were a lot of fun, collaborating over the years with brilliantly sanguine and sanguarian. If I'm saying that right, I have no idea what that is. Probably some kind of word in the Victorian era or something like that. Women like Vivid Angel, Marissa Karnsky, and she goes on to name a few other people. Not super important who they are. The more important thing is, well, I should say the very important thing is that she did acts with bloodletting and bloodbaths and leeches and piercing. And what's her claim now? During the shoot, Esmé claimed Marilyn acted erratically, breaking his camera at one point in a fit of anger. She claimed he made her watch a movie so violent that she fainted and that he tried to force her to perform sexual acts with another woman on camera. So obviously, the implication here, if we take common sense and we say somebody who, like I just mentioned, all the gory things she does, did on stage and thinks about and enjoys, passed out from watching something violent, does that make sense? Does that make sense to anybody? So if you believe her and you believe her word, can you please explain why she passed out from a violent video, but she does all this crazy stuff on stage? I'm assuming maybe some real blood or maybe super realistic blood on stage and cutting and all that stuff without any fainting or getting queasy or anything, just being able to do it normally. Sorry, that doesn't make sense to me, and I need things to make sense. And Marilyn Manson Defenders goes on to say their opinion on what I just read here, and I think it's pretty much common sense. I do find it hard to understand how could someone faint in front of a violent movie or pretend to be novice and unaware on fetish and kinks as per the cut testimony. If you evolved into the fetish scene, you are probably the most well-informed person when it comes to boundaries and do know what you're willing to do and accept. If you find a violet wand to be threatening, which actually is a great tool for your skin, is being drowned covered by blood less traumatic? And this comment here is also pretty interesting. The person goes on to make the argument that if the abuse was as Esmé was claiming, she probably would have got out of there. We hear that it's hard to get out of relationships with an abuse partner, but this is not a normal thing. If you're like really pressured with these weird sexual acts and crazy things, your instinct is probably to get out of there. This is not just claiming, physical abuse like the normal type of abuse. It's really, really an extreme circumstance she's claiming. She also makes the point that how could Brian Warner, who was Marilyn Manson, hold down this successful career as he was keeping track of all these people he had threatened and under his wing? He was controlling. She also mentions he was in serious relationships at those times. So it's not that easy to juggle all these things at once and be successful at it. The odds that that happened are not impossible, but pretty low. And she goes on to say a few other things, but she echoes one point a lot of people have made. The rest of them are leeching on her coattails. I mean, they'd have to anyway, right? None of them have anything else of exception to offer except being connected to either name. I pray for MM. I don't want to see this go on with him. What she means by that is the accusations connect them to Evan Rachel Wood and Marilyn Manson, and that's the reason this person thinks they're doing it. But that would also make sense. So I will say this. I throw this disclaimer out there every time. This is different than the Johnny Depp case. In Depp's case, I'm pretty much, 100% sure Johnny didn't do anything abusive, violent, out of line. In Manson's case, I'm open to being convinced more so. However, I haven't seen that evidence. I've had people in private mostly come to me and say, "Why are you defending him?" My answer is going to be the same every time. No medical report, no police report, no audio, no video. And if a man, suffers greatly, his career, or a woman for that matter, but mostly this is an issue with women attacking men in this way, then, yeah, I can't believe it. I gotta have the default position of innocent until proven guilty. Okay, you guys let me know what you think down below. Doing shoutouts, special thanks, things like that. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you consider it and still don't subscribe, I guess I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.